What's going on? It is yours truly, Nick of Movie AV Impulse. I apologize because the first video that I made for this James Bond, it for some reason got corrupted when I tried to upload it to YouTube. It just disappeared out of my phone. So this is the refilming. I want to talk about part 4 of my if I hit the lottery, what cars I would own, because I am a huge car guy. I don't know all the details about cars like a lot of car guys would, but I just love cars. I love the look of them, the style, the nostalgia when you look at certain cars, everything. And I think when it comes to different type of cars, nothing really compares to the James Bond franchise. I absolutely love James Bond, although Roger Moore is my favorite James Bond. Yep, let me hear it in the comments. I know he has made some of the more boring movies, but I just absolutely love Roger Moore as James Bond. I think he had everything, the look, the style, the swag, everything. So without any further ado, let's get into my top 5 with no honorable mentions. Straight out, just my 5 cars I would own if I hit the lottery. And man, these cars are absolute classics. And coming in at number 5. Now, this Aston Martin for this movie, Spectre, there was only 10 made, and a lot of those actually being stunt cars, and then the cars that had all the gadgets on it. But that's the movie with Daniel Craig, and it's got to be the Aston Martin DB10. With only 10 in existence, that car has got to be number 5, and the chances of getting my hands on them would probably not work out even if I did hit the lottery, because I'm sure with only 10 being made just for the movie, which at that point I don't even think it would be street legal, but just the way that car looks, it's such a beautiful piece of art. It literally looks like they just took the shell and then just put it on the chassis. They did nothing else. It just looks like one molded piece, and I just absolutely love the way that that car looks. In the inside, the cluster looks like a timeless watch, like a timeless piece, and it is just so great. Such a beautiful car. Coming in at number 4, this is the Lotus S1 from the movie The Spy Who Loved Me, but I like the submarine version a lot more. While the Lotus does, well, I kind of think the Fiero copied the body style of the Lotus. I just love the way those cars look. They were so small, and that one wasn't very fast, but for me, it wouldn't be about the speed. I would just love to have the submarine version because, it just was so cool, especially as a kid, watching the car go into the water and then all of a sudden it just, turned into a submarine. It was like the most iconic thing in film history for me when it came to cars and what they transformed into. I just can't get it out of my head and how crazy that looked. I absolutely love it. Now, coming in at number 3, now this is my dad's favorite Bond, which is Pierce Brosnan. He also did a great job. I think everybody that's played, 007 has done a really great job. Except for the guy, I can't remember his name. He only did like 2 movies, and I know one of them, what I believe was like License to Kill, but he like did 2 movies, and they were like, "Yeah, you gotta go." So, but anyways, back to the subject. The thing about this car, for me, it's iconic because when I was younger, I really thought that every time I seen one of these cars or seen the brand, I was like, "Oh, that person's got money," because I didn't know there was a such thing as car payments because I didn't have a car in the younger times, And even when I did, I bought my cars cash up until I bought my Infiniti. And then that's when I started making car payments. So every time I seen one of these cars, I was just like, oh, that person's got money. And that's going to be the 750 Li BMW. I don't know what it is about that particular car, but it is so like big body, box style, circle headlight, beautiful BMW. Personally, in my opinion, I think the 750 Li is the best looking BMW they ever made. And that was in the movie Tomorrow Never Dies, which seems to be like everybody's favorite Pierce Brosnan 007 movie because it was a really cool movie. I remember watching that with my dad and the surround sound. It was just insane, especially all the explosions that's in every 007 movie. Now, coming in at number two, you know one of these had to make the list because I am a huge fanboy. There's only three times where Toyota has actually made an appearance in all 27 James Bond films, and one of them being the SUV, another one being the Toyota Crown, I believe, which is like the luxurious brand of Toyota in Japan. If you didn't know, Toyota Crowns are basically what Lexus is to America. But for this number two, I'm going to have to go with the 2000 GT. That was the first time that Toyota made a roadster, and it was just such a beautiful piece of art. It was just mesmerizing. I don't know how else to put it. And the funny thing is, Sean Connery, when they made the movie You Only Live Twice, they actually had to make that one a convertible because Sean Connery stands at 6'1", and those cars were not made for anybody of his size. And funny is the reason why the female in the movie is driving the car the most is because they had to make so many different alterations just for Sean Connery to fit in that car because he was so tall. So I just think that was like a little piece of movie history, like little geek stuff that I love reading in articles. And that's why I read so much about movies, is because it's just funny that they had to make all these alterations just to make him fit. And coming in at number one, now, contrary to popular belief, Aston Martin is the most car that is in the James Bond franchise. It's the one that's in almost every movie. The second place one is BMW. Those are the two biggest car brands that have always stood behind 007. But this car is not only iconic in the James Bond franchise, but it has also made an appearance in 9 out of the 27 movies, making it one of the only cars to make the most appearances in the franchise, period. 9 movies, that's a lot, but it always comes back to that Aston Martin DB5. Right out of Goldfinger, the very first movie, it just was such a beautiful modern art piece, especially at the time. But even looking at that now, out of all the Aston Martins in the world, and I am saying this and you can hold me to it, all the Aston Martins in the world, nothing compares to this DB5. Just everything about it, especially for the time that it came out in the 60s, it was just mind blowing. And then all the different like weapons and gadgets that were on that car, everything from, I believe, rockets to smoke screens to grenades, I believe, were on the damn car, to push bumpers to ejection seats. I mean, the DB5 in the James Bond world is just the most iconic one, and that is the one that I would love to personally own, hands down. I hope you liked my five. I want to hear out of all 27 movies. You don't have to give me five, you could just give me one, but I love interacting with everybody in the comments. So please let me know what your top five are or what your number one James Bond car is, because it's just such an iconic franchise. There are bad movies in it, yes, but it has stood the test of time. And granted, going back into the older ones when I was watching a lot of these, thanks to my buddy Renardo for hooking me up with this, and then I have the other three on 4K, which are the last three Daniel Craig movies that weren't included in this 24 set. It is just like all these movies stand the test of time. Yes, the CGI can get a little on some of them older ones, but I mean, the Sean Connery days, there wasn't much CGI, if any, because they were just doing a lot of practical stuff. So it was a lot more dangerous for these guys versus like the CGI. So I give a lot of respect. RIP to Sean Connery. He started this entire thing, and he starred in the most James Bond movies, I believe, also. And I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that. But just such a living legend. Bob, I hope you do a remembering Sean Connery soon, because he was just such an icon in the movie film history. So, anyways, like I said, share, like, subscribe, hit those bell notifications, everything that every other YouTuber tells you to do. And I'm just following suit because for some reason it really works. And I don't know why. I used to tell people you don't have to press the subscribe button if you don't like me, but unfortunately with me, you're always going to get honesty. So when I do reviews or anything, if the movie or the transfer or whatever sucks, guess what? I'm going to tell you it sucks, even if I ever got sponsored by the people, because I'm real to this community and I love this community. So I won't steer you wrong, but don't always take my opinion for it, because everybody has different setups. Here I am rambling again, but I want you to understand that it's very important to not just take one person's point of view on a review of a movie. Anyways, see y'all on Sunday. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Thank you. You love me. You really love me. You're not going anywhere.